I'm on day I don't know what of my trip. So here's a compilation of, hey, hello! I can hear an echo because we're camped in a cave. Here's a compilation of bits that I like, shot through my trip, here assembled. In 2023, I purchased a Landcruiser in South Africa. We're now going to drive it down to Cape Town. That had just under 500,000 kilometres on it. It's ours.
It's ours.
Soon after that, a mechanical refurbishment was completed.
But we'll have a set of 3 splines, a gap, another 3 splines, a gap. The upgraded gear from Terrain Tamer, this one here, you'll see has a full complement of splines.
Which included gearbox, axles, bodywork, even a respray. Wow. And engine auxiliary equipment, like a new radiator, water pump, alternator. And after all that was done, an interior fit-out that allowed me to camp with it in the wilds of Africa, which I did in May 2024. That series is already public on YouTube. And this is the conclusion to that series. In terms of what I loved, I had to put up with, and didn't like at all, about my new love, my Africa Troopy. It's 2024. That means 40 years that I've been exploring the world's most remote places in 4-wheel drives, in association with the Overland Workshop. But sitting here, it's allowed me some time to think about my lovely Troopy. The things that I'm loving about it is, well, it's mine and it's in Africa, and it means that I can come anytime I like, and I have to get on a plane and that and endure the flights, but it's mine and it's here, and I love this stuff. So that is kind of the plan that I set out with in 2019 with a 105 that failed because mainly COVID, and now restarted that dream. I need to do a shout out to all the people that made it happen. My friend Bob Juriat in the States, your contribution to the channel, timing could not have been better, and basically it allowed us to do this project in 2023, not 24. We would have had to wait. So I'm a year ahead of schedule because of Bob's contribution. So thank you, Bob. I appreciate that very much. More importantly for me, what I love about it, and a few things that I don't, and some plans in the future to improve those things. But I am in love with my Africa truck. I'm going to start with something that is actually a big improvement on my Australian troop carriers. This, of course, is the quick pitch drop-down table. But look how they've mounted it. These are front runner load rails. They've changed the bracket, so now it bolts directly onto them. If I wish to, I could move it a little bit forward or a little bit back, or even remove it altogether. It's far better than I'm going to be doing this in my next, my current next Australia Troopy build. Next, can you see it properly? This is the Gobi X. I've mentioned them before. They do the rear bumper wheel carrier. It's very nice, very easy to operate. Really liked it. I've had it on a couple of my vehicles. But this is the first time I've actually not put a second spare on the other arm. I've put a box. Now the whole idea of this box, and I do have a question for you guys at Gobi X. I love it. Man, it is the best thing since sliced bread, because I've got this extra little table, and I've also got more storage, and there's a perfect storage space for, well, actually it's designed for briquettes, a bag of charcoal. That's what it's designed for, but I'm not using it for that. I'm using it for my tarpaulin. I've got some engine oil. I've got my cooking stained grid, stuff that doesn't matter if it gets dusty or dirty. So I have a question for you. I know you designed and developed it for use for carrying firewood and stuff, and that's why you cut all these holes in it. My question is, why did you do that? Because by doing that, you are limiting its usefulness. Why not actually just have a solid box? Even a dust-resistant box. You can still put your briquettes in it. See, if I'm going to put a bag of briquettes in there, and it's pouring with rain, they're going to get ruined. So I have to put them in a plastic bag. But the fact that I've got a table here instantly, I don't even have to drop that. I've got a table while I'm working in the back of the car. I could have stopped for doing something. I could be whatever. And I've got a table. It's there all of the time. And I absolutely love that. So, yeah. Ta-da! My favourite single item right now. With my troop carriers, the working table here has never worked until now. The thing is that if you're cooking and preparing a meal in the back here, and you're standing here, you've got a step in the way. I'll get to the step in a moment. The step is brilliant. But the step is in the way, and then I'm now blocking, if I'm camping with more than just my own, as I am now, blocking egress into the back of the troop carrier. So I've never been a fan of working tables here. However, it's working quite well now because I'm on my own, and also because that's my bed. I don't have at this point the roof conversion. So I am finding myself using it far more than I might. And I want to develop this idea a little further. Oh, and one other thing, everybody, if you're doing straps for shells, steel cable is the only thing that doesn't stretch. 2 days ago it was like that, now it's like that. There's nothing you can do about it. Steel cable, so I have to have those replaced. This has just become an incredibly noisy place. What's going on? But what I want to do is take this moment to actually go around the Landcruiser. Many of you have been following the build of this absolutely lovely machine for the last year, and I feel a certain level of indebtedness to those people that contributed to building the show. This is why I bought this in South Africa, and it's been featured on the show, cracking my bottle of this is basically a Victorinox Swiss Army knife with the South African flag on it, and it's become a little bit of a favourite, and it's kind of symbolic of the efforts that the South African 4x4 industry put into building this car. While I'm very, very picky with the products that I wanted fit to my vehicle, there were some that I did fit. I'm not particularly keen on them. I think they were in development. I think maybe they were a little bit premature giving them to me, so I'm not going to mention them because I don't want to say not that they're bad. I want to say they need work, in my opinion. And of them, the most interesting is the compressor and tyre inflation system. I look at that and I say, we're not quite 3.5, we're probably at 3. Let's see how good I am at judging pressure just by looking at it. Also believe, it's stopped. Why is it stopped? Good question. I don't know why it stopped. Let's have a look at the pressure. Now, these brackets here allow anything to be bolted onto these rails. Very, very simple, elegant solution. These gull wings, made by Explore Glazing in the Netherlands. Isn't that brilliant? The quality is so much better than anything I'm seeing anywhere else. And this I absolutely love. This again is from Explore Glazing, but it is a slider, and unlike the standard Toyota slider, it is secure. And I love it, and I'm going to order one of those for my Australian troop carrier. I have a Snowmaster fridge. This is the 72 litre, if I remember correctly, and it has the dual opening. I've always liked Snowmaster. I've used them since they started many years ago. Sadly, they're no longer available in Australia, and apparently no longer available in the US either. Don't know why. That's unfortunate. Good fridge. The Bull Bar, made by a company called Onka. They are a South African brand. They're also available in Australia. And if you go onto their website, onka.co.za, you will be able to find out where they're available. I think it looks so good. I love it. The wraparound is subtle. It's not over the top. It's nice. I'm carrying Max Tracks, the standard Max Tracks. I'm carrying 4 of them, and as you can see, not just for recovery. The wheels are standard Toyota Landcruiser 70 series alloy rims. They're light, they're very strong, and they're inexpensive. The headlamp replacements are PVS in Australia, as is the grille, but I didn't get my Toyota badge, which I will get in the future. My driving lights. I've used a laser lamps. These are the 6-inch Elite, and I'm covering them because in Namibia they're very sensitive about light bars. So I got through the border post without any difficulty at all. I just covered them up. If I need them, I'll just peel off the tape covers. The great part about them is that they can be changed from yellow to white. I selected them because they are low profile, not going to affect any of the cooling air, and their performance is, they're the equivalent of this big. And now what a lot of you have been waiting for. This is an unusual product, and I am part of an experimental program by a company in Australia called Work Air Tech. This is a raised air intake called a Scavenger. Now, as you can see, its design is rather unusual. Obvious when you look at the face here. These are individual cyclonic air cleaners. The Scavenger is a new look. The hippos are going crazy behind me. Is a new look at an old problem. You see, air intakes that have the big dome on top, that is a cyclonic air separator. Air comes in, starts rotating, heavier particles move out, and it expels the heavier particles before they go into the airbox. With this, they are expelled even at idle speeds, so which makes them more efficient at all engine speeds. In conjunction, it comes with a different air filter element that solves the problems with the V8s. For example, the V8 Landcruiser is notorious for letting in fine dust because of the design of the standard air cleaner element. This combination solves that completely, even for the most extreme dust situations like mines and underground. The roof rack is the K9 by Easy Orn. I selected it because they've got such a fine reputation and I love it. It's worked extremely well on this trip. I have been sleeping in the back, an experiment that, well, I'm still got to come to my conclusions on. As a camper, I have slept well every single night in this car, despite the fact that it is a little bit cramped. The rear system with the drawers and everything is brilliant. I love it. It's so well put together. It doesn't rattle. I've still got to get my head around where everything goes, but I'm getting there. It was developed by Paul Marsh and extremely functional. It's taken me a bit of a while to get used to it. It's probably not exactly how I would have done it had I designed it myself, but it is wonderful. Huge amount of storage space and hugely practical. And I think the practicality of it, because I have combined it with sleep in and not roof conversion will come later, its practicality is a little bit limited. But I can't wait to use it with a roof conversion where I can sit up or even stand up in here, because it has pull-out drawers, pull-out working surfaces. I mean, it even has and it's a stiff so it doesn't rattle. It has a working surface there. I mean, this kind of stuff all over the place. It really is nice. Okay, guys, you need a little bit more tolerance in there, please. I've never pulled it out before. It's the first time I've actually used it. But the door systems, and they're also using me as a bit of an experimental test bed, because I'm feeding back some ideas. Open spaces like this, fantastic for shoes and my cooker, my air pipes, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Doing a little bit of work on the Landcruiser. I can scarcely believe my eyes. The way this build has worked is that Paul Marsh, he's a professional overland touring vehicle builder based in Cape Town, and he built it for me. And I'm very, very picky, as is he, when it comes to what accessories I pick for the vehicle. Yes, many of them are donated in return for the publicity the equipment makers get by me fitting them to my vehicle. I choose the kit. I have many people coming to me, please fit our kit, we'll give it to you for free. And my reaction is, well, if I don't know it, then no. However, I did make an exception, and in this particular case I regret it. I was offered some door pods, and I thought, well, that'll be good. Yeah, I mean, I want to put a bigger speaker in. So, let's see, how bad could they be? I had no idea how bad they could be. Now, it's fallen off. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 very small self-tapping screws screwed into the back of this board, which is incredibly soft, and the slightest bit of moisture and it disintegrates, it dissolves, with a bit of glue there and a bit of glue there, with a but let me explain to you what a door pod is for, because I don't think you understand what a door pod is for. The Landcruiser door is very narrow. If you want to put a bigger speaker with a bigger magnet, you need to space the speaker away from the door card, which you have not done because you've recessed it in. I could put this speaker directly on the door card. I don't need this to fit this speaker on here. This is the standard, fairly useless door pocket that comes with the Landcruiser. So what have you actually contributed to the usefulness of the Landcruiser? I can now put a bottle of water or something in there. So all this is a cup holder. Okay, very complicated, very ugly cup holder. Secondly, don't you think it needs a little more glue than that? But far more importantly, it's split. Can you see there? The whole thing is split. It's just broken. I could put 12 screws in there and they would come out. I could put 12 in there and 12 in there. You should have put at least 4 in there, 3 in there, at least 1 in there. Why 1? Why not 2? Why not 3? Why not 1 down here? None down here at all. Oh, no, you did put 1 down there, but it missed. And it goes now in the bin. And the last thing I want to do is discourage somebody building new products for four-wheel drives and things like that. And if I had not really liked them terribly much and just kind of, I might not have mentioned it. But honestly, they're not just bad. They're just so bad because they're made on the absolute cheap. Because obviously, there's somebody who's designing it and developing it has no pride because of it is so obvious that everything about them is to make them as cheaply as possible so they can make as much money as possible. And I don't applaud that attitude. And it never works in this business. And so I'd like to say to those guys, you need to try again. Stop trying to make a packet out of each product. Start with making the product good, really good, and then charge sufficient so you can make an income from that product. Don't start cheap and work up. Start expensive and work down. And then you'll get a product that you can be proud of, because there's no ways you can ever, nobody could be proud of that. Standard Toyota seats. Now, I don't know what it is, but they look the same as the ones put into Australian vehicles. These are work-made seats, but buckets, not the 1.5 seat awful thing in the Australian workmates. I'm not getting any backache, none. I've got Tackler seat covers and South African seat covers. Honestly, they're fantastic things. I've been a huge fan of Tackler for decades. The floor, this is a floor matting that has sound insulation. I developed it with Tackler. Actually, I developed it with Tackler on my first green Troopy, the very first one with a prototype Hercules conversion on it. I developed that product and they still sell that product. So I have a question for you. How many of you would like your partner to go camping with you more often, but you're sensing a little bit of resistance? Organize a shower that's quick, easy, fast, and no hassle at all. Because the thing is that many of you will have a shower system in your vehicle, but your partner knows that actually it's a bit of a pain to set up. You've got to pull out the gas thing, and you've got to put and then you've got to put a pipe in, and you've got to get the pump, and you plug the pump in, and then you light the gas, and you try and get the temperature right. So they know that I'd like a shower, but it's a real hassle. So I won't ask. If you want your partner to come camping with you, organize a shower that is simple. You know how I do it with this car? I switch it, click. 20 minutes later, I have hot water, exactly the right temperature, instantly. I'm going to mention it because, well, I have an instant shower hot water system. I have 2 Amtron 100 amp hour batteries in the system. I'm currently preparing a meal in our little Travel Buddy oven. Of course, that's an Australian product, far better than the horrible Chinese copies. And I have an instant hot water shower system using the Egon Water Hub. Most of you will be familiar with that product. There's my little oven there. It's actually on there. There it is on. Busy cooking a curry meal that we prepared earlier. I've got these little things which I'm kind of, my kitchen's getting it sorted out, and I'm going to show you how because I've been sleeping in the back here and I've been really enjoying it, and I am going to do a roof conversion, but this is how it works. This lifts up, and move it across, and I slide it in there, and I wiggle it. That is now my bed. While the headroom is a little limited, I sleep so well in this thing. I absolutely love it. And if you've been watching this series, you will know that in fact that early morning ritual of opening my gull wing to a morning sunrise. What other sunrises are there? To a sunrise is magical. I also have to say that the sizes of the drawers, the way they've got the tall drawer, flat drawer, deeper drawers, they've got 3 different sizes of drawers, plus extra spaces to put stuff, what I like to call open space. These are gaps, spaces, not designed for anything specifically. I'll give you an idea of, I'm going to show you one which has just turned out to be really useful. Right, can you see here? Okay, this here, shoes. See, shoes. My cooker, little gas cooker, and I've got my tire pumping stuff, and in there I've got toilet paper and a bowl for washing dishes. Easy to get to at any time, day or night, without hassle. I call them open spaces because you can decide what you do. So this is a standard system that is available, but there are enough places in it where you decide what and how and where. Absolutely love the way they've done this. The one thing that I am not very happy about, this is, I've got a cutting board there, it clamps closed, and I want to redo this with my kit. It was done for the kit they supplied, but I don't like tall narrow mugs, so I'm gonna change that. But I mean that is it. That's kind of the only thing, and I've yet to find a really good use for this molle panel here. But those two things are the only thing that I've actually been able to well, not so much criticize, but yeah, that needs work. Oh, and another thing that actually does need a lot of work, but there's a reason why it needs work, and it's this. This kitchen box here is not right. I'm pre-packing stuff, and it's been very useful, but it should be the center of my kitchen should be here. This should be my kitchen. At the moment, the kitchen is at the back, so a little bit disjointed. So I will sort that out. I'm running Falcon tires. They're actually not available in Southern Africa. I had them brought in from Australia. They're the 265/75 R16 all terrains. I wanted to test the all terrains in a very challenging rough environment, and they came out fine. No chips on the treads. I had one puncture caused by a very sharp rock, stone, went through the tread, fixed it. The vehicle travelling with me has the Bridgestone Jeweler 694, similar size, a 70 profile instead of a 75, but had lost two tires destroyed and one puncture. I'm very happy with these Falcons. Going to keep them on the vehicle. Very happy. The biggest frustration with this vehicle, without question, is that normally I would be home on a Saturday morning working on my cruiser. It's something I love doing, and I haven't been able to do it with this. So I'm going to take a little bit of it all the way back to Australia and then tweak it and get it perfect. Right, what trouble did we have? Gearbox wouldn't go into low range. We managed to get it into low range. If you've been watching the story, we managed to get it into low range, force it into low range. I think the problem is quite a simple one. My fault for not checking, but more important, my fault for not doing a test trip. That is what test trips are for. So we have suffered because of the fact that we haven't been able to, I wasn't able to take it on a test trip. But we managed to get around that. The engine has used 5 litres of engine oil in a total right now of 6,900 kilometers since I left Cape Town, which is heavy. I've owned 1HZs before, and typically I might not have even had to add any engine oil at all at that distance. So the engine is old and tired. Downhills, I am opening the throttle even on downhills all the way just to maintain 110 kilometers an hour. Uphills, I'm often into third and down to 50 kilometers an hour because it's absolutely gutless, particularly noticeable in the very sandy terrain. I was struggling to get through. Not having low range just made everything much worse. So the fuel consumption is, well, 21 litres per 100 kilometres. And that is not off-road, that is not heavy sand. That is mountainous terrain on gravel, where you can't get lots and lots of momentum to get up the hills, so because it's gravel. I'm doing 80, I want to do 80, I'm comfortable at 80. So I'm down into third, and then I get up to 80 quite easily on the back down, but then I can't get it to 110 to maintain 80 over the top, because 110 is too fast on those gravel roads. So I'm constantly changing down, constantly. 21 litres per 100 k's. On average, on tar, on a good run, when I'm managing to get it to 110 kilometres an hour, between 18 and 19 litres per 100 kilometres. I've had, I think I must count actually, it's probably 6 1HZ motors before this one. None of them have been come close to that in terms of fuel economy. Not even close. It's an old, tired engine, and so project for 2024/25, the choice is, what do I do? I could rebuild this. I could get a new or already refurbished, rebuilt 1HZ. But I'm 1HZ'd out. And what I mean by that is, yes, they're really reliable engines. I get it. Yeah, they are. And for this kind of thing, they're fine. But I've got a 2.8 in my, I've ran a V8. I'm tired of an engine that just, you have to flog it to death. Even when it's good, you flog it to death to do even a mild truck overtake. I'm tired of it, and I want better performance. And there is an option for an engine change, a complete engine change. More about that later. And for those of you with a 1HZ engine, stay with me, because what I have in mind is not only plausible, not overly expensive, particularly since I've got to spend money on the engine anyway. So as I shut down the engine for the last time, we've done 7,909 kilometers, and our total odo 508,756. This is the final show in the Africa 2024 series. If you would like to download in 4K this entire series, it's called Going the Extra Mile and the Philosopher's Haircut, currently at 16 episodes. Also available, Going the Extra Mile, from the selection, collection, purchasing and rebuilding of the 500,000 kilometre Landcruiser in South Africa. And that is all of 28 episodes. The series actually continues, well now really, as we change the engine, fit an Alucab Hercules camper conversion, and in April 25 set off on another expedition in southern Africa.